Well, welcome to another edition of Show Up Central Oregon. And today we are excited to be bringing back a couple of people. Well, one of them you definitely know, and the other person I have worked with over the years. And she is working for an organization right now, the executive director of Opportunity Knox. And so, good morning, Michele and Affton. How are you guys today?
Good. How are you, Matt?
I am well. How are you, Affton?
Fantastic.
Fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Fantastic. So,
Affton and I just spent yesterday together, so I on a virtual meeting.
I know. You guys, it seems like we meet these days very virtually. That is kind of what we do. But I wanted to bring the two of you together. Afton obviously has been a part of what I've been doing over the last several weeks. But Michele, you are the executive director of Opportunity Knox. And I have in the past been a member of Opportunity Knox, and I know that it was incredibly valuable for me. Can you tell us, though, for those people that don't know what Opportunity Knox is, what Opportunity Knox is?
Sure. Yeah, Opportunity Knox is actually peer mentorship. And what that means is we put 8 to 10 people in a room together with actually 2 facilitators. So it makes that a little bit different than some of the other peer mentorship programs. But they meet monthly, sometimes weekly. Right now, some of the groups are meeting weekly, and they listen to each other. They do problem solving. They just share what's going on with their businesses and with their lives, and just through shared experience, they do a lot of problem solving, and and it's just a really great business group. So it's usually, it's facilitated by 2 people who have either the industry experience or have business experience. And it's probably one of the most, I think, valuable. It's kind of like having a board of advisors, only you don't have to, these advisors can tell it like it is. So they can be real based on their experience.
And I know that, Afton, you have been an OK member. I'm going to call it OK from now on if everybody's OK with that. There's too many. OK. Afton, how has it been beneficial for you? I guess let's specifically talk about in this critical time of, growth and change and everything that's going on.
Yeah. So as Michele had mentioned, our OK group is typically structured to meet once a month, and they're pretty intense meetings, usually about 4 hours long. And it's a great way to kind of CEO roundtable face to face, not only the business side of your life, but also personally, like how the business and what you're doing as your role as either head of sales or CEO or president, vice president is dealing with that personally as well. So as Michele mentioned, it's a mentorship program primarily for leaders in the community, whether you're an owner, founder or not, but also it's a great personal mentorship that sometimes you might not otherwise be able to convey to just a friend or a family member. So right now, our OK group has gone from our monthly meetings to meeting once a week via Zoom conversations. And usually it's about an hour, and we all, chat about what happened that week, kind of more of like a high and low situation or scenario. So, what exciting things happened, but then also touching base. Primarily the topic of conversations have been the SBA EIDL loans as well as the PPPs. So it's just a great way as a business owner for me to be able to have this tight-knit little group of people that I can be super vulnerable with in this very, very interesting time.
Yeah, and I think Michele, you could speak to probably how many. Afton just talked about weekly, and how many groups have you seen at this point in time that kind of have gone to more of a weekly just check-in? I mean, that is something unique that OK used to be sort of a monthly, and so now it sounds like there's been a change within the organization too.
I think every group is a little bit different. Every group has their own culture. Some of the groups are meeting all month on Slack, and they are sharing information on, Slack is software, or a Slack type of software where they can just check in. Or what's happening, Matt, as you know, is the world is moving really, really fast right now. And so with entrepreneurs and business owners, they might have like yesterday on Slack, one of the owners reached out to the group and said, I have this chance right now to buy a full new bottling machine for my business. And it's priced at a quarter of what it has been in the past. It means I'm going to have to change my labels and the types of bottling, but I'm in startup and it'd be a really great opportunity. And then everyone weighs in. So every group does it a little bit, has their own unique way of communication. We have 24 groups, and as you can imagine, they all have just different ideas, and some of them are, in the food and beverage group, or we've started marketing groups, and when changes happen in the marketing world, like right now, it's a really great time to do marketing because you can get free TV spots. You can actually, it's less expensive to do online marketing. So every group behaves in a little bit different way. Our big, I guess my big thing and Opportunity Knocks, it's really about communication and making sure that people feel like they have someone there for them. And it's kind of interesting how people give their input. They give it based on experience. They do let's do a quick SWOT analysis. Or they'll say, let's do the pros and cons, and they'll put up a board and do pros and cons. So it's because our world is moving so fast, each group kind of reacts based on their personality.
Mm-hmm. Affton, can you speak into the fact that what it sort of has done for you? It has, then been there's some decisions that, having, like Michele said, that group around you has been beneficial for you?
Yeah, and I think it depends on the group. Like Michele said, there's a vast array of different styles or tailored groups, if you will, within Opportunity Knocks. And I've been a member for Michele, maybe 7 or 8 months now. So not a long time, but I actually started with one group. And recently, within the last couple of months, moved to another one that was just a little more tailored to more like-minded businesses, if you will. And I think that makes it easier for you to have conversations. And the group that I'm in, for example, is pretty vast, but really the majority of the structures of the business are similar. So, when I say product-based, I mean they have Salesforce, they have some sort of distribution, either they're manufacturing or contract manufacturing their product and selling through multiple sales channels. So, right, like not just right now, but in the past, it's been beneficial for me to take, for example, some of my bigger deals that I've been working on to the table and say, okay, here's what I'm faced with. What strategies should I think about? What other costs should I figure into this model, when selling into Crate and Barrel or Whole Foods versus a boutique store? So Opportunity Knocks is just a great way for just feedback, and that's all it really is, just once a month to be able to sit down and say, hey, these are my biggest problems, the ones that I can't necessarily go out to my warehouse and have a conversation with an employee with. Or again, I can't go to my mom or dad. Well, my dad's different, but I can't go to my mom and say, hey, this is what I'm struggling with, because I think the majority of the time when you are running a business, it is very, I don't know, it's very isolating at times. And OK is put it into a situation where I'm in a room with like-minded people. Mm-hmm. And that's honestly the biggest benefit out of the group, is having that support system.
Yeah, and I know that there's probably people out there that are like, well, yeah, but why would I be part of it? It's going to cost me some money to be a part of an organization. And I want to tell you that these are the times that investments like that make a lot of sense, because this, like Afton was saying, that peer group of people around you to help you out are those people that are going to help you make better decisions at this point in time. Michele, what can you kind of give me some sort of? I mean, you mentioned a few, but are there any other sort of success stories that OK has sort of helped during these sort of pivot times, I guess, for lack of a better term?
Well, I think as Afton said, there right now a lot of I've sat in in a lot of the Zoom meetings because I have a Zoom account. So they are having conversations about, okay, so how do you apply for the PPP loan? Which banks are working? What credit unions are you using? Could I use my online, accounting system? And you'll see that the people who have actually gone through that process will give them tips. So that sort of thing, that conversation is happening. And as we get information, I mean, I think we all understand, we live in a very collaborative community. So as I get information from the SBA or Business Oregon, I'm pushing it out to the facilitators, they're pushing it out to their team members. And so everything is happening real time. So as I go through, just the last couple of weeks of Zoom meetings, I'd say a good 50% of our businesses have received some sort of funding that is helping them out. I think that's a huge success story because I think it's because of everyone's ability within the group to help each other out that they're less afraid to go out there and do what it takes to get the help right now. The other thing that's happening is in the groups, I'll see a lot more discussion on how can we pivot our business. Okay, everyone knows they have to have an online presence. Okay, so if you're going to do that, who can I work with right now to get me up and running online? And we have, resources within the group. I mean, we have a guy that specializes in Amazon, stores. And so if a group needs help in a certain area, let's just say a majority of them are asking about a certain subject, or like recently it came up, what about my leases? We will get someone on the phone or in a Zoom meeting and talk about your leases right now. What can you do? What can't you do? Is this a good time to lease? Is this a good time to buy a building? So whatever the conversation comes up in the conversation, we have people within our organization, with over 150, 170 now people that have probably been through or have some sort of expertise in those areas. So every single meeting I'm in on it feels like something really good just came out of that meeting that I learned from, and certainly the group learned from. And so therefore, I think our attendance is up. We are starting new groups. We've put some people on, a pause for billing if they need to, but our focus right now is to keep them very, very engaged with their groups, knowing that it's going to be their group that will help them through this really difficult time.
Well, and I think that's a majority of what OK is as well. It's not only, for lack of a better term, a safe place, but the networking capabilities are super vast. Like I use a local photographer for lifestyle imagery, and she reached out to me and said, hey, I'm kind of struggling with everything being shut down. If you know anybody that's looking for photography, and it just so happened in one of my OK meetings a couple of months ago, all of us were talking about using imagery to promote social media. So it was a great way for me to reach out to my members in OK and say, hey guys, this is a really good opportunity. I know you were talking about needing some imagery done. It's a perfect time. This young gal locally could use some help. And it just spurs conversations that kind of connect everybody on a deeper level, because it's part of your trust circle, and inevitably all of you want to see each other succeed. So any resource that pops into your head that you're like, oh my gosh, this would be perfect for so-and-so. It's just creating that thicker entrepreneurial spider web that we have in Bend.
Yeah, I know for me personally, like I said, when I was involved, it was at one of those times in my business that it was incredibly valuable to be involved. Not that I won't be involved again. I just, what was that, Michelle? Sorry.
It seems like, Matt, we're on so many meetings, and here's the thing. I mean, OK is one part of this big collaboration in this market. As Matt and I were talking before, and Affton, we're part of another group that's going to try to help open businesses in Central Oregon and provide gift certificates. So we have that group, and we collaborate very closely with EDCO because they're about economic development and helping businesses grow, and the Bend Chamber, and they've been such a great educational partner right now, and City Club, and we're part of this ecosystem that is absolutely amazing. So within a day of 10 Zoom meetings, I'm gonna run into the two of you together, and it's all about our mission is to help businesses grow and business leaders grow. So the thing I do want to make very clear, this isn't just a networking group. Certainly networking happens because you are there and you're all looking at growing your business, but it is not a networking group. It's not a social group, although people have dinners together and they do Christmas parties and that sort of thing. But the members, we really screen the members, and we really want to make sure that people who sign up for OK are wanting to grow their business, and they're going to put in the time and the effort. And, there's accountability. That's a huge thing. So if someone spends, if your group spends, 30 minutes on brainstorming something to help your business, they're going to ask that you come back the next month and report in. And that level of accountability is something that a social group doesn't have. You don't have to be accountable to your team. You have to be confidential, because some of the things that we're discussing in the groups, this is a small community. They cannot leave that group. I mean, if you're talking about employees, you're talking about partners, you're talking about, who to do business with, those conversations. So accountability and confidentiality, collaboration is huge. And that's a core value of Central Oregon. And then commitment. So my big thing is, is it a big commitment to show up, for 2 or 3, 4 hours a month? It is, but it's a commitment that you're making to yourself and to your team. And that's how you're going to grow as a business leader in any scenario that you're in.
Yeah, absolutely. And that is an important thing to realize, is that, you're spending the time working on the business as opposed to working in the business. And that's an important thing to remember from a business owner standpoint. Affton, is there anything else that you would like to add about OK, or, what's going on with and how they've benefited you?
No, I mean, Michelle's totally right. It's definitely not like a BNI group where it's focused on networking, but I think that is, for me, a big takeaway. I know that if I walk into the group and have a problem, not only will they help me strategize how to solve that problem, but they will give me resources to do that. So it's just, if anybody owns a business or is, looking to expand it, they don't even have to own a business. There's several management positions, or like I said, head of sales, director of marketing, things like that you're really wanting to get more involved and expand your knowledge in what you're doing. I think that I would recommend OK, like hands down, to anybody.
Yeah. I kind of stopped using That's one of those things that it's like the catch-all. I got rephrase. What, Michelle, how can they get in touch with you, learn more about OK?
You can go to our Opportunity Knox website. Just put in opportunityknox.org. Or you can reach out to me directly, Michele with one L, Michele at OPP-Knox, KNOCKS.org. So we are a nonprofit, and just reach out to me. We have new teams forming right now. We have a startup team that we're running. We have people right now in this climate who are talking about starting a new business because they see a need out there, and they're an entrepreneur, and entrepreneurs are problem solvers. They see a problem, they think they can solve it. So we have a team that's starting up with Adam at OSU Cascades. That team is starting the month of May. We're starting also a team for people who are in family-run businesses because right now there seems to be a trend that the younger people who are now stepping in to run the business have completely different ideas.
Mm-hmm.
Traditional way the business was run, and they really need people within who kind of have been in the same place to be able to know, how do I reach out to my parents and talk about the changes we need to make right now? And they're not as comfortable as I am with change. I mean, most people in our groups are in their mid 40s, some 30s, some 20s, and they're seeing a world that is changing all the time, rapidly changing. And so in their family, in a family-run business, Affton, you're in one, things are changing there. And so how do you communicate with your parents and convince them your family or your aunts and uncles that we need to change business? So, and then we do have, we're looking at starting another manufacturing team, because Central Oregon is so great about manufacturing new products and services and that sort of thing. So if you're interested, just reach out to us and we'll find the right team for you. And sometimes, as Affton said, it took a couple teams for her to find the right one. Mm-hmm. And we're fine with that. And sometimes you're in a team and then you're ready to graduate to something different, and we make that happen. So yeah, just reach out to us and we'd love to help you out.
Michele, Affton, thank you for joining me this morning. As always, nice to see both of you.
Thank you, Matt.
All right. Hey, everyone, thanks for joining me on another episode of Show Up Central Oregon. It's been my pleasure to talk a little bit about Opportunity Knox. As always, a great organization. And remember, everyone, please show up for Central Oregon.